Okay, welcome to the May 24th team call for Redefine Coaches. Yeah, that was fun. So I'm going to, that really had nothing to do with it anyway, so it's fine. But um, I might not post this. So, okay. But, we say, like, oh man, I'm in a rut. And you're not, like, you put yourself there, and instead of like kind of taking the necessary steps to get out of it, you kind of just stay in it because it's comfortable, and then you're like, I don't know how to get out of it. So I feel like that's kind of where I was last month and into the beginning of this month. So I was reading in You Were a Badass. I'm going to talk about that book probably every team call because it's literally changed my life. And if you don't have it and you don't have money for it, I'll send it to you.
It's an awesome book.
Because it is incredible. I know that Anna's reading it. Yeah, so she'll like probably amen me like every second when I say something about it. But I was reading, oh man, I didn't bring my book. Okay, well, it's okay. Toward the end of the book, it was last Tuesday before our team call, I was reading, and she started talking about like writing a manifesto. And it's all about like you write like your dreams in specific, like where you're living, what you're doing, where you're shopping, like what you're wearing, like how much money are you making, like crazy specifics. And I think it's so cool because she's not like, she talks about Jesus and she says like he's the universe. And so like every time like I like read her book, I'm like, you like really love Jesus though. Because before I was talking to some of our friends and they were like, just be specific with your prayers. Like be super specific with like what you want from God and just like continually speak it over your life and ask for it. So she says to write this whole thing out and then read it like every morning when you wake up and every night before you go to bed. And I did that last Tuesday. Like I wrote all of this out and she said, it needs to be so specific that when you read it, like it can bring you to tears. And it's crazy because I wasn't like in tears when I was writing it, but then I was reading it to Corey and I started like tearing up. And I thought that was like a really powerful moment, like for us as a family, because like instead of just it being like my manifesto for my business, it's like our manifesto for our family. And so now it's actually part of my power hour. Like every morning in my power hour, I read my manifesto, and I cannot even tell you like how much that has changed my excitement every morning when I'm doing my power hour. Just to read it and remember that like, and I'll read it to you in a second, but like that the life that you want and the life that God has for you is real and attainable. And like you have the power to achieve everything that you want. Like your dreams will not be withheld from you because you're a child of God and like you're working hard and you're being consistent. So like tonight, like I really just wanted to talk about that, like being bold with your dreams. Like we all have those dreams that we're like, man, it would be so cool to do that. But like, I'm not going to set up goals for those dreams because they're scary and I'm not really worth making that dream become a reality. Like I'm not good enough to make that dream become a reality. And that's such a lie. Like that is such a lie. And I feel like we grow up with that mentality, like especially in church. Like I feel like we're like, yeah, like we're called to live with excellence, but like no, like we're just gonna sit in a pew and like we're gonna stay here and like be with each other. And instead of like going out and being like, no, like we're capable of really, really big things, and that's okay. Like, and we're going to change the world by doing those really big things. I don't know if that made sense, but I feel like sometimes when I think about how I grew up in the church, like I felt like sometimes I felt like I was held back, just, and almost like intimidated, feeling like I couldn't achieve like these crazy big things because like either it made people uncomfortable in church or like I wasn't wanting to be a pastor. So then it wasn't like valid. So, and I don't know, I mean, every church is different. Like Anna Anna Oma and I went to the same church, and so I'm not like saying anything bad about our church, but it's just like church culture in general, I feel like kind of can do that. But I wanted to just take a second and like I don't want you guys to like write out your manifesto right now, because for me it took a while. Like I think that mine is like 2 pages long, but I would love if you sent them to me in the next few days, because I'd love to like read over them and like pray over them with you and believe in them for you, because I think that it's like really, really powerful. And then I won't even read mine tonight to you, but I'll send you mine when you send me yours. So like we can all be praying together for one another and, you know, like being kind of a part of those bigger dreams instead of kind of just limiting ourselves because we think we can't attain something really amazing and change the lives of so many people. But I do really want you quickly to write down, just like jot down a dream or 2 that pop into your head. You don't even have to write it down, just think about it, because I'd love to just go around and kind of share really like what kind of scary dreams you have, like a dream that scares you. And I want you to kind of like keep it at the forefront of your mind when you're doing everything that you start every morning, you know, just like thinking about those dreams and starting to speak over your life that they're attainable. So I'll give you guys a second, and then in like a minute or 2, we can just, unless everyone has it, and then we can do that. But
Real quick, I wanted to say sorry. When I hopped on, I couldn't hear you guys. And I don't know if you were saying hi, but I was just nodding because I couldn't hear anything for like a good 5 minutes.
yeah, we figured. I was like, I don't think she can hear us.
Well, now I can. But yeah, anyway.
I'm glad. Is anyone done and want to share though? Like what some of the dreams that scare them?
I'm done.
Okay. Go for it, Oma.
I have one that is kind of shallow.
That's fine. It's okay.
But one of them is abs. I've like always been like, you know, like curvy, and I never even like dreamt of having abs. But like now I feel like my stomach is getting flatter. So I'm like, you know what? This could be a thing for me. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So I want that. And then my big dream is to pay off all of my student and consumer debt by this time next year.
Awesome. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm praying for it because there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Catherine or Anna? If you're not done yet, it's fine.
I'm not done.
It's okay. Anna or?
Yeah, I guess so. So one of them, like, just an idea, like, goal for my business in general is when Josh and I were in college, we had, like, a lot of guest speakers because we had chapel 4 days a week. And one of the comments that him and I always made, and, like, I know it's horrible, but it's true, that, like, almost every single person in ministry is, like, overweight and unhealthy. Mm-hmm. And it always bugged us. And Josh always said to me, he's like, never let me become one of those pastors that has like a big stomach and all of this stuff. And for me, like, this journey has really taught me like how like being healthy is so much more than just the physical, that there's also the mental and spiritual. And I feel like that's lacking. And I feel like that's especially lacking in the Christian community. Because they're like, oh, you know, like I'm really great spiritually, but they don't always have it together mentally and definitely not physically. So I definitely like have a heart for that, because I think that as Christians, we miss the mark on that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it can take away from like everything that God has for you. If you're like not healthy, like you might not be around as long to like fulfill the ministry he's given you.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's something that's like really on my heart. And then secondly, like growing up, I grew up in a Christian household, but like my parents didn't have a good marriage, and my parents actually got divorced 5 years ago. But I always kind of felt like an outsider in my family, and I always put a lot of expectations on myself. And I loved my family, but it was hard for me to be home sometimes. And I didn't necessarily really have a place to like another family or a place to go to like where I could get some of the love and acceptance that I was missing in my life. And so like I like really want to be in a house soon, because God's given us a youth group that we're starting, and I believe that God's going to build that youth group. And like almost every single kid in our youth group comes from a broken family, divorce, split, low income, something like that. And I just really want like a place where they can come and just feel love and acceptance and just know that like the door is always open. Yeah. So I mainly started coaching because like I want to be in a house way sooner than the rate that I know we're going at right now. So
that's good.
Okay, so every single time that we have one of these calls and they're like, so what are your big scary dreams? What are your whatever? I just sit there and I'm just like, like I just sit there. I feel like I don't know what to say. Okay. Maybe that's because I feel guilty dreaming big things. I don't know where that comes from. I honestly don't. I can't even begin to think why, but I've always been one to not want to spend money on myself. Like even Joel will say, hey, you know, I just bought myself this. Why don't you, we have the money. Why don't you go buy yourself ... You know, back when he had his job and we were actually making like $90,000 a year for a year. Like we were saving half our income every month. And so, but I like would be like, no, I don't need it. Like, and part of that's being a good steward. Part of that, I just always felt guilty. So whenever anybody's like, what's your big dream? I don't know. For some reason, I feel guilty wanting big things, but I wrote them down anyway. I have some practical ones, and then I've decided to do things like, okay, if you could really like forget about the guilt, like if you were really honestly successful, things that you and Joel like dreamed of having, whether it's necessary or practical or not. So the practical things are, Joel has some student loans that we definitely need to get paid off, and we haven't started right now. We should have started last year, but we just kept not getting to it. So anyways, so we need to pay those off. And something that has nothing to do with like money or anything. Joel is like super unhealthy, and he's going to kill me if he ever hears this call. But it concerns me because he's older than I am, and he doesn't take care of himself the way he should. And I don't know. I want him to feel the same benefits that I do with all of this. So he's supportive of me doing it. He doesn't me doing it, and he does eat like a lot of the dinners. But I really just like, I'm just praying that God could work on his heart, that maybe someday he would want to jump on board with it as well. Being a good example for my kids and that's not just being healthy, but like chasing my dreams even when they don't look very practical or It's like, oh, why would you do that? That doesn't look like it would make a lot of money kind of thing. So those are, and then like eventually when we have kids, like to be able to have money for like a college fund for them. Those are my practical goals. And then the other things when you were saying like, what does it look like when you have, your scary goals? I want my own car. I don't need my own car, but my car is old and it doesn't have like heated seats or anything like that. And it's just like, it would be nice to have a car with those things. Joel and I have always dreamt of having an RV. We love to camp, and it's just something that would be really cool, especially when we have kids someday. We just love the idea of like throwing everybody in the car and just like going somewhere. Like we don't even know. Mm-hmm. So that would be awesome. Having like a solid team underneath me. Right now, I have a couple coaches, but I really want to expand that, and I'm really working on trying to find people that are wanting this. And I don't just want to like be convincing them that they should do it. I want people that are like, wow, this is like the answer. So just praying about that. We want a house, and we'd really like to have a house with a pool. It's hard to find up here. And I really want to be someday, and I don't know how this is going to be possible because I really do think that my calling is still teaching, but it's also this now, and that can be kind of tricky to juggle. But I do want to progress in this, but the more I progress, the more tricky it is, to keep balancing both. So I'll just have to take that as it comes, but I really do want to get to where I'm like a 5-star diamond or something with like people underneath me that are really going for it. And so those are my big scary goals.
Those are good. I'm really proud of you for like naming things that you want. Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like, even though I feel guilty. But it's so crazy. It's crazy how personal development, like, it freaks me out sometimes because I was listening to a team call today, and I think Anna was actually listened to it because she mentioned something to me the other day, and then I made the connection. I was like, I think that this is what she was talking about. But it was a national wake-up call, and it was like 3 ways to hit Success Club. And she talked all about the leadership ladder and like how important it was, and how like Success Club, and like I don't have a lot of time left, so I'll definitely put like notes together for you guys when I put up the recording. But like I just feel like it has so like knowing the business side of things has so much to do with making your dreams a reality. And I think for me, like I am not that person. Like when I did my personality test, I'm a sapphire and a pearl. I'm like, save the whales, have fun. Like I'm not organized, like nothing. So for me, like this is something that I really need to work on. But like hitting Success Club like every month is what will make these big dreams a reality. And like it might not look the way that we want it to, and it might be hard, but her 3 tips I just thought like were so great, and I was like, this is like perfect for tonight, because I think that like coaching boldly starts with a dream that freaks you out and a dream that it makes you uncomfortable, because then you're already stepping outside of your comfort zone. And then what you do from there is like, well, I already spoke this big scary thing over my life. Like I might as well do scary things to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like how I feel every day. I'm like, yeah, like we got this. We're going to do this. Like I'm freaking out. Like when am I going to find a place that's not de-leaded? Like, or when am I going to find a place that is de-leaded? So, but she talked about talking to more people, like obviously, and I think that you guys are really good at that. Always reconnecting, like reconnect. Be purposeful. Like when you're posting on social media, like always say like, okay, like, and why did I post that? Like, what did this add to somebody's life? Like, did I add value to that? Like not posting Shakeology and just being like, this is so good, and expecting everybody to understand what you're saying. Just little things like that, like always adding value to every conversation, every post, even every conversation in person, like everything, like just continually like kind of make that your thing. Like, I just want to add value. And then her other thing was talk less. I'm like, wait, you just said to talk to more people and now you're telling me to talk less. Like, I don't get it. But she said, when you're talking to somebody about the 21-day fix and they ask to have more information, don't spew like word vomit at them. Like, send them a video giving them information about the 21-day fix. Send it to them and then say, hey, watch this 3 or 4 minute video and then let me know what questions you have. That's what Anna had talked to me about, because she actually made her own video explaining the 21-day fix in containers. And that's what she just sent to somebody. And I was like, that is so smart. And even when Anna told me that, I'm like, I got to get on my game. Like, that's brilliant. And so, well, really, I did. We got off the phone and I was like, she's amazing. But we, like, it's so easy to do that. Like, I'm like, how much easier is that? Like, because honestly, like, sometimes when people send me a message and they ask about it, I'm like, I don't want to answer back because it's going to take me so long. It takes me so long to answer. And like, I don't want to word vomit them. Like, I want to have a conversation. And so like, I just thought that was really cool, because then it keeps you talking about them and having a conversation about their goals, and not as much you just talking at them about what this program can do for them. So, just like little things, but I think that all of those have to be like kind of go along with being bold, because you're reaching out more and that's bold. But I think it takes a lot to talk less. Like, I think that like as creatures of habit who are human, like, we really love talking. And so I think it's pretty powerful when you can say, like, I'm just going to talk less and ask about you and your life and how.
It also takes more effort.
Huh?
It also takes more effort. Like,
Yes.
It's so much easier just to cut and paste, like, your own little type thing that's so generic, and just like send all the, now they have what they need, whether they want it, but it is more effective to like just sit and listen and then keep going with the conversation. It might take you like 2 hours to discuss it, but you're going to get better results.
Exactly. Yeah. That's so good. Yeah. And there was, what was it? Oh yeah. So then she just said, like, incorporate what you learn right away. Like, don't wait to take what you learn from personal development. Like, don't wait to incorporate it into your business or into your life. Like, when you learn something, incorporate it right away. And I'm like, wow, how bold of a step. Like, and that's that's another thing. And You Were a Badass that like kicked my butt, because it was like the last chapter, and she goes, you're probably sitting on your couch right now in your PJs. I was literally in my PJs, wrapped in my Snuggie, reading this book, like bawling my eyes out, because I'm like, this is going to change my life. And she's like, just reading this book and finishing it will not change your life. I'm like, I hate you. Like, I wanted to throw the book on the ground and be like, but why can't I do that? Like, why can't this change my life? And so, like, incorporating what you learn, like, be bold in incorporating it right away. Like, don't wait, because it's like easier. And that's something I really struggle with. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, like, I'll write it down, I'll do it. But I don't. And I won't if I don't do it right away. And so like, just like little things that I think are just like really cool when you look at them through the scope of like these things every month, these things every day, like doing your vitals, doing your personal development. I think like I didn't get personal development until I started doing it. And then all of a sudden I was like, I can be one of those people that like say like, oh my gosh, I was in a rut and personal development helped me. Because when people used to say that and I was doing personal development and I was so inconsistent with it, I didn't understand. Like, I was like, oh no, like, wait, I don't get it. Like, personal development helps you that much. But like then doing it consistently and like learning so much and incorporating it, you're like, wow, like that's incredible. And it's incredible that we can be a part of a business that's like, that's important. Like, you are important. Like, you as a human being and learning and growing, like that's important. And that's something that you should do every single day. like not just once a week, you know, like, and so it's bold because I hear Catherine say, like, I feel guilty for sharing my dreams, but then it's like, no, but like you're allowed, like you're allowed to have really awesome dreams, and you're allowed to like dream big things, and you're allowed to take care of yourself. And so it's just so cool because I feel like we're kind of all in that place sometimes where we're like, I'm writing this really big thing, but like this doesn't feel right, you know, like, or like I'm like doing all of this stuff for me, and like I kind of feel selfish. And so it's just like, it's so crazy what boldness looks like, you know, in that sense. And then the last thing, which it doesn't really have a lot to do with it, but I thought it was really down to the heart of like why we do this as coaches, because she said every point is a person. Every Success Club point is a person. And I really felt like I needed to say this because I think that like attracts like, you know, like we hear that all of the time. And I know for me, I've been so focused on Success Club points lately, and I know that has probably trickled down because like attracts like. And I needed to hear that today. Like every point is a person and an opportunity to see a life change and the lives of others change because you're pouring into those people and believing in them. And like, who knows, one day they could be a coach like you guys, like, you know, like I feel like all of my coaches who didn't sign up to be a coach right away are some of like my best coaches. And, you know, like I have some people who like seriously were like, yeah, I'm going to jump in all the way, like right away. But it's so crazy to see how that happens, you know, just like pouring into people, even if they don't start off as a coach. It doesn't mean that they won't get there. But every point is a person, and coaching boldly and leading boldly means treating every person like you would want to be treated, and pouring into them and loving them and supporting them. And I wanted to leave it at that for the night, because I feel like it's just so crazy how being bold means loving people, stepping outside of your comfort zone, and being consistent. And I, you know, like I just want to encourage you guys, like we're in this together, you know, and we're going to be bold together because we are bold people, and we are, you know, like we say, redefined coaches, like we say, you know, like we're going to do this, like we are transformed. So like, let's be bold about that transformation. Like, let's not be afraid of it. And let's like keep looking toward like how much more we can be transformed with other people. So I love you guys. We have like less than a minute. I'm sure you all see it. I'm just going to suck it up and get the upgrade. So like I don't have this problem, but I love you guys. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but if you do, let me know before I'll stop the recording.